Jaya Jaya Sri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Sri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Sri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat ki jai Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur ki jai Srila Prabhupada ki jai Samaveta Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Welcome to today's Srimad Bhagavatam, Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat reading. We are going to read from Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat Madhya Leela. Actually, we completed Madhya Leela. How did the Madhya Leela end? In Chaitanya Bhagavat, Madhya Leela ended with the Lord's taking sannyas, isn't it? Whereas in Chaitanya Charitamrit, Adi Leela ends with the Lord's taking sannyas, and in the Madhya Khanda of Chaitanya Bhagavat ends with the Lord's accepting sannyas. So we saw the details of how Mahaprabhu took sannyas from Keshav Bharati Maharaj. Okay, so we'll continue now. Antya Khanda, chapter 1. Sri Advaita Acharya Grihe Punaha Sammelanam. Meeting again at Sri Advaita Acharya's home. Avatirnau Sakarunyau Parichannau Sadishwarau Sri Krishna Chaitanya Nitya Nandau Dvau Bhratarau Bhaje. I worship the two brothers, Sri Krishna Chaitanya and Sri Nityananda, who are the two masters of the devotees and who have mercifully descended to this world. Namastrikala Satyaya Jagannatha Sutaya Cha Sabhrityaya Saputraya Sakalatraya Te Namaha. O Lord, who exists eternally in the three phases of time, O son of Jagannath Mishra, O Lord, accompanied by your servants, sons and wives, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Glory, glory to Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Goddess Lakshmi's beloved. Glory, glory to Lord Chaitanya, who is most dear to Nityananda. Glory, glory to the King of Vaikuntha, who has now become the King of Sannyasis. Glory, glory, glory to the devotees of the Lord. Glory, glory to Lord Chaitanya, the purifier of the fallen. O Lord, please place your feet in my heart. O my brothers, with one mind, please hear this Sesha Khanda, where Lord Chaitanya goes to Jagannath Puri. After accepting sannyas, the king of Vaikuntha stayed overnight in Kantaka Nagara. After accepting sannyas, the Lord ordered Mukunda to sing a kirtan. Saying, "Chant, chant," the Lord began to dance. In the four directions, the Lord's servants sang. The Lord sighed, laughed, perspired. trembled and cried out. The hairs on his body stood erect. I do not know all the limitless symptoms of ecstasy he manifested. He roared like millions of lions. Seeing him fall to the ground in ecstasy, everyone became afraid. Throwing somewhere his danda and kamandalu, the king of Vaikuntha became mad with love for a person who was actually himself. The Lord danced and danced. Embracing his sannyas guru, he became very happy. In the Lord's merciful embrace, Keshava Bharati attained ecstatic love for Lord Krishna. Overcome with ecstasy, Keshava Bharati threw his danda and kamandalu far away. Calling out, Hari, Hari, saintly Keshava Bharati danced. His external consciousness now far away, Keshava Bharati tasted the nectar of ecstatic love. He rolled about on the ground. At the end, clothes no longer covered his body. Seeing the mercy Lord Chaitanya had given to Keshava Bharati, everyone called out, Hari, again and again. Lord Chaitanya happily danced with his sannyas guru, watching all the Lord's servants happily sing. Lord Chaitanya happily danced with his sannyas guru, watching all the Lord's watching. Lord Chaitanya happily danced with his sannyas guru. Watching this, all the Lord's servants happily sang. The great sannyasi Keshav Bharati danced with a person whom even the four Vedas find difficult to see in the trance of meditation. Again and again I bow down before the feet of Keshav Bharati. The master of the limitless universes became his disciple. For the whole night, the king of Vaikuntha danced with his sannyas guru. When sunrise came and he returned to external consciousness, Lord Chaitanya approached his sannyas guru and bid him farewell. He said, entering the forest, I will find Lord Krishna Chandra, the master of my life. His sannyas guru said, I will go with you. In your company, I will happily perform Sankirtan. So for the whole night, Lord Chaitanya danced with his sannyas guru. And when the sun rose in the morning, the Lord returned to external consciousness. He approached his guru and said goodbye to his guru. And he said, I will find Lord Krishna by entering into the forest. Krishna is the master of my life. So his sannyas guru said, I will go with you. In your company, I will happily perform Sankirtan. Lord Chaitanya mercifully went with him. The sannyas guru walked first in the forest and Lord Chaitanya followed behind. Embracing Chandrasekhar Acharya, Lord Chaitanya loudly wept. He said, please return home and tell all the Vaishnavas that I have gone to the forest. Please go home and do not be unhappy at heart. I will always stay as a prisoner in your heart. You are my father. I am your son. I love you birth after birth. After speaking these words, Lord Chaitanya departed. Then Chandrasekhar fell unconscious. No one can understand the Lord's inconceivable potency, the potency that keeps the devotees alive even when they are separated from the Lord. After a moment, regaining consciousness, Chandrasekhar hurried to Navadvip. Arriving in Navadvip, Chandrasekhar told everyone, the Lord has gone to the forest. So when the Lord left like this, Chandrasekhar fell unconscious. But still, he lived, he didn't die. How he lived? By the inconceivable potency of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he lived. Then he came back to consciousness and he hurried to Navadvip. And in Navadvip, Chandrasekhar told everyone that the Lord went to the forest. Hearing these words from Sri Chandrasekhar's mouth, the devotees wept in anguish. Anguished laments came from millions of mouths. I have no power to describe how everyone lamented. Advaita said, I will not live. Hearing him weep, the dry wood and rocks cracked into pieces. Simply by hearing this news, Advaita became unconscious and fell to the ground. There was no sign of life in his body. Sachi Devi was motionless, stunned with grief. She stood unmoving like a puppet. The saintly women devoted to their Vaishnava husbands fell, weeping, to the ground. Advaita said, my master has gone away. What reason have I to stay alive? Today I will drown in the Ganga. If the people stop me during the day, I will drown at night. Separated from the Lord, everyone felt as Advaita did. All the devotees' hearts were filled with anxiety. No heart was happy. Every devotee yearned to leave his body. Although every devotee was naturally learned and peaceful, no one could be peaceful now. Every devotee had decided to leave his body. Aware of this, a person speaking from the sky stopped them. From the sky came the words, O devotees headed by Advaita, do not be unhappy. Each one of you please happily worship Lord Krishna. In 2 or 4 days the Lord will return. You will all meet him again. No one of you should in his heart decide to leave his body. All of you will enjoy pastimes with the Lord as you did before. Hearing these voice from the sky, in his heart every devotee abandoned the thought of leaving his body. Taking shelter of Lord Chaitanya's holy names and qualities, the devotees stayed happily. Devotees stayed always around Sachi Devi. Taking shelter of the holy names and qualities of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the devotees stayed always around Sachi Devi. Meanwhile, always chanting the names of Lord Hari, Lord Chaitanya, the crest jewel of sannyasis, travelled west. With him were Nityananda, Mukunda and Gadadhar. Keshav Bharati walked in front. So Mahaprabhu didn't go with Keshav Bharati alone. He went with Nityananda, Mukunda and Gadadhar. Lord Chaitanya walked like a maddened lion. Thousands and millions of weeping people followed him. In the 4 directions, weeping followers broke the forest. With true mercy, Lord Chaitanya said to them, everyone please return home and chant Lord Krishna's name. Make Lord Krishna your great wealth. Make him your very life. May the nectar that Brahma, Shiva, Sukadeva and all the great saints yearn to taste always rest in your bodies. Hearing this blessing, everyone loudly wept. Everyone please return home. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Acha. So when Mahaprabhu said, now on the other side, when Mahaprabhu went into the forest with Nityananda, Mukunda, Gadadhar and Keshav Bharati, then all the others, all the people of the village who came to attend the sannyas ceremony, they started following him. And Mahaprabhu, with true mercy, he said, everyone please return home and stay at home and chant Krishna's names. Make Lord Krishna your great wealth. Make him your very life. May the nectar that Brahma, Shiva, Sukadeva and all the great saints yearn to taste always rest in your bodies. So you stay at home and you chant Krishna's names, and may you get the same nectar that Sukadeva Goswami, Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva tasting, may you get the same nectar. Hearing this blessing, everyone loudly wept, as if controlled by another. They all returned to their homes. They cried, but they all went back to their homes. Then Lord Chaitanya entered the place called Radha Desh. To this day, that place is fortunate and holy because of his visit. Radha Desh is very beautiful to see. It is charming, a great circle of ashwatha trees It is charming with a great circle of Ashwatha trees in the four directions. So Mahaprabhu entered Radhadesh. Radhadesh is where Ekachakra is there. So seeing how this place was beautiful with many cows, the Lord at once entered it. Calling out, Hari, Hari, the Lord began to dance. He saw cows. When he entered Radhadesh, he saw cows. And then he called out, Hari, Hari, and he started to dance. In the four directions, his servants made a great Sankirtan. The king of Vaikuntha loudly roared. Hearing his roars, every heart in the universe became pure. In this way, Lord Chaitanya sanctified Radhadesh. Whatever path he travelled, he always danced. The Lord said, I will go to the forest where the Vakreshwar deity stays. I will stay in that secluded place. Overcome with love, the Lord spoke these words and then continued walking. Nityananda and the others followed close behind. The Lord's dancing was wonderful. Hearing the Lord's wonderful kirtan, everyone followed him. Even though there had never been Sankirtan in that place, and even though now one had no, even though no one had ever seen weeping in ecstatic love for Lord Krishna, when the people saw Lord Chaitanya, they began to weep very wonderfully. Falling to the ground, they offered Dandavat obeisances. The lowest and most degraded persons asked, why is there so much weeping? By the Lord's mercy, everyone was overcome with ecstatic love. They wept and they rolled on the ground. All the worlds sang the names of Lord Chaitanya. Only the ghosts and demons would not sing. Please know that anyone who turns his face from the holy name of Sri Krishna Chaitanya is a ghost or a demon. Accompanied by his devotees in this way, the king of Vaikuntha tasted the nectar of dancing. At the day's end, Lord Chaitanya arrived at a fortunate village and stayed at the home of a saintly Brahmana. After accepting his meal, the Lord lay down and went to sleep. The devotees slept around him in the four directions. When perhaps 3 hours of the night remained, Lord Chaitanya left and went far away. Not seeing the Lord when they awakened, the devotees wept. The devotees searched every village and every grassy field, tasting the nectar of ecstatic love. In a grassy field, the king of Vaikuntha loudly wept, calling out, Krishna, my master, Krishna, my father. The master of all souls wept. Calling out these words, the crushed jewel of sannyasis wept. The sound of his weeping travelled for 2 miles. From far away, the devotees heard the Lord's wonderful weeping. Following that sound, they found the loudly weeping Lord. The Lord and the devotees wept. Then Mukunda began to sing a kirtan. Hearing the kirtan, the Lord began to dance. Surrounding him in the four directions, the devotees happily sang. On every path he followed, the Lord danced and danced. In this way, he happily travelled west. When they were 8 miles from Vakreshwar Tirtha, Lord Chaitanya turned in a new direction. Dancing as he went, the Lord happily turned from the west and again went east. Tasting the nectar of dancing, the Lord went east. Filled with limitless happiness, he loudly laughed. Revealing his thoughts, the Lord happily said, I will go to Jagannath Puri. Lord Jagannath personally ordered me, hurry to Jagannath Puri, he said. After speaking these words, Lord Chaitanya continued east. The devotees very happily followed him. Only a person who has attained the Lord's mercy can understand the Lord's desires. Why did the Lord not desire to go to Vakreshwar Tirtha? Only a person who has attained the Lord's mercy has the power to know. I think the Lord's traveling to Vakreshwar Tirtha was a trick to bless everyone in Radha Desh. Again traveling to the Ganga, the Lord was overcome with the bliss of ecstatic love. The whole country was empty of devotional service. No one knew anything about Kirtan. In no mouth was present the chanting of Lord Krishna's names. Lord Chaitanya said, why do I walk in this country? I do not hear the name Krishna come from any mouth. Why do I walk in this country? No longer will I protect this body. I will give up my life. At that time, some boys herding cows came. Amongst them was one very saintly boy. This boy suddenly began to chant the holy names of Lord Hari. Hearing this, Lord Chaitanya became very happy. Hearing the words Hari Bol from the boy's mouth, the Lord happily said, I did not hear the name of Lord Hari come from any mouth in any of the villages I saw in the past 2 or 3 days. Then I suddenly hear the name of Lord Hari come from this boy's mouth. What is the reason for that? Please explain and I will listen. Then Lord Chaitanya said, how far is the Ganga from here? Everyone said, it is 3 hours on this path. Then the Lord said, that is the great glory of the Ganga. She teaches the chanting of Lord Krishna's names. The breezes from the Ganga blow here. That is why I hear songs of Lord Krishna's glory. In this way, the Lord explaining her glory, in this way, the Lord explaining her glory increased everyone's devotion to the Ganga. Lord Chaitanya said, today I will dive into the Ganga. Saying these words, the Lord continued walking. Lord Chaitanya walked like a maddened lion, and the others were like bumblebees following his feet. Eager to see the Ganga, the Lord quickly walked. The devotees had no power to keep up with him. Accompanied only by the lion that was Lord Nityananda, at sunset, Lord Chaitanya happily came to the Ganga's bank. Accompanied by Nityananda, the Lord dove into the Ganga, chanted Ganga, Ganga, and recited many prayers. Filling himself, the Lord drank the Ganga's water. Again and again he offered prayers and obeisances. The Lord said, your splendid transcendental water is ecstatic love personified. Lord Shiva knows all the truth about you. Anyone who once hears your name attains true devotion to Lord Vishnu. How much greater then is a person who drinks your waters. By your mercy, the name Krishna appears on the people's mouths. There is no other reason for this. A worm, an insect, a bird, a dog, or a jackal who lives by your bank becomes very fortunate. A wealthy millionaire who lives in some other place is not their equal. To rescue the fallen souls, you descended to this world. No one is your equal. Hearing Lord Chaitanya's prayers, Goddess Ganga became embarrassed at heart. The Supreme Lord, whose lotus feet are Goddess Ganga's home, had descended to this world and spoken these prayers. Anyone who hears the Lord's prayers glorifying Goddess Ganga will find in his heart love for Sri Krishna Chaitanya. Accompanied by Nityananda, Lord Chaitanya passed that night in the home of a saintly devotee. The next day, the other devotees found the Lord. Accompanied by the devotees, the Lord happily proceeded to Jagannath Puri. Lord Chaitanya said, O noble-hearted Nityananda, please listen. Please quickly go to Navadvip. Please rescue Srivas and the other devotees from their sufferings. Please tell all that I am going to see Lord Jagannath, who is like a moon shining in Nilachala. I will go to Shantipur. I will wait for them at Advaita's home. Please quickly bring them. Now I will go to Haridasa's home in Fuliagram. After speaking these words to Nityananda, Lord Chaitanya walked to Fuliagram. On Lord Chaitanya's order, powerful Nityananda happily went to Navadvip. Intoxicated by tasting the nectar of ecstatic love, Lord Nityananda roared again and again. Overcome with love, he became like a maddened lion. All his pastimes are beyond any order or prohibition. For a moment he stood under a kadamba tree, assumed a charming threefold bending form, and played enchanting melodies on the flute. Seeing many cows, he began to roll about on the ground. Becoming like a calf, he drank the cow's milk. Whatever path he took, he always danced. He was not an external consciousness. He was plunged in an ocean of bliss. Sometimes he would sit down by the road and weep. Anyone who heard him felt broken at heart. Sometimes he would loudly laugh. Sometimes tying his garments like a turban around his neck, he would be clothed only by the four directions. Sometimes, accepting the nature of Lord Anantasesh, he would swim like a snake in the Ganga's currents. I have personally seen him gracefully swim like Lord Anantasesh in the Ganga. This is Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur saying. Lord Nityananda's glories are inconceivable and unattainable. In the three worlds, there is no second person merciful like him. In this way, swimming and swimming in the Ganga, Lord Nityananda finally emerged at Lord Chaitanya's bathing ghat in Navadvip. Again clothing his body, he first went to Lord Chaitanya's home. He saw that Mother Sachi had been fasting for 12 days. Only by the power of her pure devotion to Lord Krishna did she still breathe. She was overwhelmed with the emotions of Mother Yashoda. From her eyes flowed an unending tears of love. Whomever she saw, she asked, "Are you from Mathura? How are Krishna and Balaram? Please tell me, please tell me." Then she would fall unconscious to the ground. Sometimes Mother Sachi would say, "The flutes and horns sound. Does Akrura return to Vraja?" In this way, Mother Sachi was plunged in an ocean of separation from Lord Krishna. External consciousness was not manifest in her body. Lord Nityananda at once offered Dandavat obeisances to Mother Sachi's feet. Seeing Lord Nityananda, the devotees embraced him and loudly wept. So we will continue this next week because we still have some more to read. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. We'll continue next week.